Hello and welcome back everyone to part 3 of communication. Part 3 of communication is an extremely important one. And although sometimes some of us, it might surprise us, it might shock us, but certainly it should at the very least wake us up to something that we've all done in our lives. And what we're talking about at the moment is when we, if you will, if somebody who is not present, that we're talking about them behind the backs. And whether it is in truth or whether it's not in truth, it might be malignant, it might be malign. Generally what's happening here, folks, is when we're doing this kind of communication, this kind of conversation, we're talking another person down, we're, if you will, bringing our own energy down as well.
Yes.
But certainly understanding that words are vibrations. Whether we know it or not consciously, those vibrations, those words are reaching out to the person that we're talking about.
There will be a connection.
It will be connected to them. Somehow or other, well, we've heard the expression before, my ear's burning.
Yes.
Or my ear's itching or whatever. There's an expression there, I'm sure, I can't quite remember exactly what it is. Left is for love, right is for spite, I believe the saying goes. And well, maybe at that moment in time, maybe somebody was having a conversation about them. If it was the left ear, it was a loving conversation. If it was the right ear, well, somebody was doing some pretty nasty backstabbing work talk about them. And we have to understand that every single word, every single form of communication in this way is creating a connection to the other person or persons. And because it's malign, what's happening is not only are we lowering their vibrations, certainly if the people are not consciously aware of that it's going on, can't feel it, don't understand it, then we're going to be lowering their vibrations. But the worst of it is, it's also lowering the vibrations of the person that's doing the malignant talking, around the back of the person doing that kind of talking. So it's extremely important to understand that when you see these groups of people and you hear and feel that they're talking about a particular person, and maybe not in a very loving way, maybe really putting them down or really negative talk about them, well, in this day and age we're really stepping into our truth. I tend to say, if you knew what you were doing with your words right now, talking in this way about that person, you wouldn't do it anymore, because you're not only lowering that person's vibration, making them feel, eventually you're going to feel pretty rough, pretty sleazy, pretty energy void yourself, drained of energy yourself.
What comes around, goes around.
There we have that beautiful video of the karmic cycle, or the, what do they call that in English? Well, the karmic cycle, let's just leave it at that, because that's a special video on its own. We're going to be doing that definitely with you. But our point is to get this across to you. Please do try to avoid this kind of conversation that you're talking behind the back of somebody else about somebody else and doing it in a lower form. Because this in itself is creating an energy that is lowering the consciousness, the collective consciousness.
It's destructive.
It's very, very destructive. Now, at the very beginning of all of these courses, you saw the beautiful meditation exercise with our beloved Lord Michael and Lady Faith. If you felt that that's been going on, that somebody's been doing that with you, then by all means go in and use that meditation and cut those ties. Because these energetic ties, if you could see them and follow them, they'd have different colours. They'd be grey, they'd be black, or if they're talking very positively, they could be white. If they're talking about a healing session, they could be violet. There are many different ways, and it's up to you to sort of feel or see what these, if you will, communication cords are. If they don't feel good, by all means, go in there and cut them.
Yes.
Because it's very, very important this time of our ascension that we realize the power and the energy of our words and what we're doing with them.
and thoughts.
And thank you, I'd forgotten about that one. Yeah, because that's exactly the same. Oh my goodness. Yes, you're absolutely right, sweetie. I mean, if you're thinking negative about anybody else, you don't even have to verbalize it. Verbalizing strengthens it and empowers it even more. But even when you're thinking these sort of thoughts, well, that tie is going out to the other person, and again, you're lowering their energies and your own energy. You wanted to say?
Yes, that
Oh,
was
you were agreeing. Okay.
Yes, I was agree. You did a good job.
Thank you. Yeah, we did a good job.
You did a good job.
Yeah. Well, folks, here we are again with another example of communication. Because as we are ascending, we must understand what we are doing with our words, with our communication.
Yes, it's the most powerful way to share information.
Yes, at this
With
moment
the-
in time.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
With the outer world.
Yes. We've not got there yet, that we are able to be in absolute total truth and have no fears of anybody else picking up our thoughts. But there will be another form of communication. In fact, we talked a little bit earlier in one of the other videos how we are already telepathically communicating with beings around the planet and of course off planet. And these conversations are always in absolute truth and love. It just wouldn't work. And that's why so many of us have not reached that level of communication yet, of telepathic communication. But boy, we're getting there, and we're getting there fast. And to have no fears, no ego, no resistance, only love. What a beautiful way to be. And thank goodness we're starting to experiencing it now, and that it's not something in the future. That too is now. We wish you communication in its purest forms, because when you are and do, then you too are in your